where the homie TJ Watt landed, because he did finally make his appearance on the NFL's top 100 list. There was some concerns about would he be top 10 or not. He did appear in the top 10, so that was also good. Unfortunately, was not the highest ranked defender or the highest ranked edge rusher, but was top 3.
Yeah, I just don't care anymore, to be honest.
We care, but that's our defense mechanism.
No, I'm good. I'm good at this point because TJ Watt's the best defensive player in the league. I don't. It's whatever. I mean, we got to see him get robbed for defensive player of the year last year. Get robbed on these lists time in and time out. It's just it's enough. It's enough. Actually putting any emotion or energy into these lists anymore. It's whatever.
But if he was rated 1, would you show any emotion to that?
I think, honestly, probably not, because it's just like that's who TJ Watt is. Like, for Chiefs fans, seeing Patrick Mahomes, if he were to be 1 on this list, it's just like, it's whatever.
Okay.
That's how good he is. Like, I don't need this list to validate it one way or another. It's nice to see. It's nice to see him get the recognition he deserves. But TJ, unfortunately, doesn't get that recognition
consistently enough, because he has a depot, but he doesn't get consistently enough attention. Yes.
Yeah, 1 year they actually gave him the props he deserves. But I mean, out of the last 4 or 5, these people have been, well, I guess in this case it's the players that don't know ball, but typically it's the writers and the media that are giving their disrespects to TJ. Yeah, he's the best defensive player in the league. I mean, it is what it is. So where do they have him ranked? 3rd?
Yes, behind Chris Jones and Myles Garrett.
Yeah, he's better than both.
Now, Chris Jones has been a part of the teams that's winning Super Bowls, though. And he's been the best defender on the best teams.
That's cute. But he was nowhere in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year.
Myles Garrett won Defensive Player of the Year. So how much stock are we putting in the actual award then?
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a great point. When you got Browns fans, listen.
That's what I'm trying to feel like where we at, yeah.
I went up to Cleveland, when was it? A month or 2 ago. My buddy's girlfriend, she lives up there, so like sometimes our friend group from here will go up there, visit, whatnot. And members of her family were even questioning how Myles Garrett got the depot. Like if you got Cleveland fans being like, yeah, kind of didn't deserve that. And they even brought up too his disappearing act that he had in the last like 7-8 weeks. He's like, he only had 1 sack for you. He didn't do anything for us at all down the stretch of the season. Yeah. And you got TJ Watt getting all these numbers, and TJ Watt always doing crazy things against us and just being so consistent. It's just crazy that he didn't win the award, but they're like, oh, we'll take it, whatever. But they admitted TJ Watt should have got it. When you got Browns fans saying that.
Well, and I was going to say, if you could, because you got to pull it up, read what they talk about with Myles and then what they say with TJ. Because I think that's also interesting when we're just talking about the mindset of how people are continuing to view those two specifically, being that they're both the edge rushers in this convo.
All right. Well, for Myles Garrett, they say the appreciation and acclaim of Garrett continues as the top 100's highest-ranked defender. Cleveland's daunting edge rusher was invincible through the first 11 games. 13 of his 14 season sacks during that span that included a memorable showcase of dominance against the Colts in Week 7. So let me pause.
Was that the blocked field goal game?
Yeah, let me just pause this for a second.
Invincible also. He was invincible. Right?
Yeah, was invincible through the first 11 games, securing 13 sacks. Again, that's what TJ Watt does. TJ Watt had, ended up being 4 or 5 more sacks than Myles Garrett last year total? I think it was 5.
He led the league
TJ Watt had 19.
Yeah, led the league again. Yeah.
So obviously TJ Watt probably was on the same exact pace, if not better pace, than Myles Garrett through those first 11 games. And then that showcase of dominance during the Colts in Week 7. I remember saying it at the time. TJ Watt does that like every other week, pretty much.
Sure, because it was like 3 sacks.
Like a 2 sack,
and he had a
strip sack and a pick or something. Like batted down pass. TJ Watt does that type of stuff every other week, pretty much. So, yeah. Again, another example of just the media. Or I guess it's not the media.
This is not
this is the players. But I know the players didn't write this up.
Right.
The media wrote this up. It's just the media over celebrating Myles Garrett and overhyping him up like he's God's gift to the earth. Meanwhile, you got a better player within the same division playing the same exact position, doing better things. It's whatever. It goes on. A shoulder injury halted Garrett's sack pace, but even his burdened presence was a major factor for the Browns' number 1 ranked defense because of the attention he requires. Garrett still managed to earn top 10 finishes in sacks, QB hits, QB pressures, tackles for loss, and forced fumbles by season's end, but the full understanding of his impact wasn't told in the numbers.
Uh-oh.
Let's further explain that then. Can we please further explain that?
Shout out to the homie, bro.
Does he help them win more? Like, can you explain that more? Because I could make the case with quarterbacks that, yeah, sometimes the numbers lie there.
Mm-hmm.
Dudes don't step up as much in the fourth quarter, and that accounts for the team's wins and losses. Like, Tua has all these stats, but it's like when push comes to shove, or Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, when push comes to shove, in the third, the fourth quarter, when it's crunch time, are these guys going to step up? A lot of times they don't. So that's where I think that statement could be actually made, not necessarily here with Myles Garrett, unless you want to elaborate, and they didn't elaborate on how his impact isn't told in numbers. But anyway, they go on and they say, which is why he earns further recognition after securing his 3rd All-Pro honor and his 1st Defensive Player of the Year award. Listen, he can have all the All-Pro honors and Pro Bowls he wants. It's fine. He's a really good player. He's the 2nd or 3rd best edge rusher in the league. He's just not first.
Yeah, I would agree. That is funny, man. Yo, they brought up the shoulder injury. They said that's why it slowed down his production. And then he impacts the game. You know, you just can't see it all the way. But he impacts it, though, Deke. Just roll with it, man.
Yeah, I remember looking at a chart at the end of last year where T.J. Watt not only had 5 more sacks than Myles Garrett.
All the numbers that they were bringing up at the end. Just remember those numbers, Deke.
I don't have to. I just...
I was like, yo, we
I
can't
just
say sacks. Tackles for
I know T.J. Watt
say, hey, man, what we going with?
had better numbers than Myles Garrett across the board.
I was going to say, which
it was
one
not
we
only
going
5
with,
more
man?
sacks. It was all those other stats.
Yes,
too.
everything that they just named.
I think they tied on one of them, but
Yeah.
big whoopty.
Mm-hmm.
So the T.J. Watt explanation for 8, they say Watt returned with a vengeance in 2023 following an injury-riddled season that temporarily halted his historic sack-collecting pace.
Yeah.
The Steelers' star pass rusher returned in remarkable fashion, leading the league with 19 sacks, the 3rd time in 4 seasons.
Okay.
Kind of sounds like he should have 3 Depoy awards.
Okay.
He's been the NFL sack champion. No, I just read that. Watt also produced 50 QB pressures, 36 QB hits, 4 forced fumbles, 1 pick, 3 fumble recoveries, and a defensive touchdown in his 4th All-Pro campaign. Pittsburgh's defense has fed off of Watt's energy since his 2018 arrival, and the 29-year-old is already the all-time sack leader of a historically rich franchise, averaging .93 sacks per game. Watt is on pace to hit 100 career sacks in his 108th game, which would make him the second fastest player in history to the milestone, behind Reggie White.
This is insane,
according
bro.
to NFL research.
This is insane, man. So, yeah. They still continue to do that one.
I don't have anything else to say.
I feel like they had to put Myles in front because of the Depoy, but based off of when the vote was cast, the timing doesn't align. Because, like we said, they did the voting during the season while the season was still going on. But I'm trying to think in November. That might have been when it was the loudest for Myles up to that point. So, I suppose.
It could have been the loudest for Myles, but
Yeah.
T.J. Watt was still better. That doesn't change that fact at all.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, he could be getting buzz. He could be getting recognition. Doesn't make him better.
Yeah.
That's what we were saying the whole time throughout the course of last season. Yeah, NFL Network, ESPN, they're sucking him off.
Yeah.
They're saying he's the best defensive player. We're sitting back and saying, like, how?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's cool. You could talk about him being the best, but he's not. T.J. Watt is.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I guess that swung the Depoy vote. That and PFF's stupid pass rush win rate stat, some fairy stat.
Because remember, they wanted it to be Michael Parsons the first half also. They was pushing that one. And then it became the Myles Garrett combo. Like I said, I don't like it, but I can understand if they, in the middle of November, wanted to make that vote, cool. I don't get Chris Jones ahead of TJ, though, because I still feel like even with that one, TJ still was a way more productive and way more louder player in the sense of his overall impact on the game. I just think that with the Chris Jones part, you with the Chiefs. And, certain perks that come with being on that squad, man.
And Mahomes should be one.
Over Tyreek? Over Lamar?
Yeah.
Lamar got MVP this year.
He's not the MVP.
It should have been Josh. I agree, but he got MVP this year.
It's Mahomes. Most valuable. MVP means most valuable player. That equals Mahomes.
Are the Ravens not where they are because of what Lamar did, though?
Yeah, that's cool. He's valuable, but he's not more valuable than Mahomes. And you're right. I'll even give you Josh Allen.
And what about Tyreek?
I'll even give you Josh Allen, but not in the moment of the regular season. I got to see that play out in the playoffs because that's unfortunate. I would like to vote on the MVP after the playoffs are over.
Okay.
But
you got two
the
MVPs.
most value.
You have your playoff Super Bowl MVP, and then you got the regular season MVP. Regular season wise, Lamar was,
I get it.
At least that's how they talked about it.
Yeah,
I don't agree with it, but that's how they talked about it.
I get why he won the MVP, but it's just, it's tough to make that the name for the award when you're not as valuable as Patrick Mahomes. Point blank. Period. I don't care when it is, regular season or playoffs.
What about Tyreek? Because Tyreek was also in this MVP conversation.
He's not as valuable as Mahomes when we're seeing that play out firsthand.
Are you sure, though? Because
With
Miami, what is Miami without Tyreek? What is Tua without Tyreek?
That's a good question, but you're not winning Super Bowls.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes is winning Super Bowls without Tyreek Hill. He's winning Super Bowls with whatever receiving core you put out there. Whatever running back you put out there. Yeah, but 7th-round pick and Pacheco.
Tyreek has a ring, though.
Mixed and matched players on. I know it was with Mahomes.
Yeah, but he was the best receiver during that process, though. And he's only
Obviously,
gotten better since, though.
Obviously, they didn't need him that bad.
Yeah.
Because they've won 2 without him.
And he's been arguably the best receiver in the league without Mahomes, though.
I don't care. I don't care. You're not better than Mahomes. Quarterback's the most
because
important
he plays
position.
quarterback.
Yeah, well, it's the most important position. It definitely is. Yeah, he's the best player in the league. I don't care what way you want to slice it. Mahomes is number 1.
All I'm saying is, man, Tyreek.
You could keep Hill there if you want.
Tyreek,
I don't
man.
care.
Like, yeah, Tyreek went crazy this year.
You can keep Hill at number 1. That's fine.
Yeah. So, what would your top 5 be?
I'd have Mahomes at 1. Man, that's tough.
I'm listening.
It's tough. I'm just gonna say Mahomes at 1. I'm not gonna do this on the spot.
Just because he plays quarterback and he won Super Bowl, so you go quarterback.
No,
there?
that's the easiest one to answer.
Oh,
Mahomes at 1.
It's like, what about
I don't need to think about Mahomes being at 1. The like from 2 to 10 or 2 to whatever, I might have to think about.
Okay. I could dig it there. Because that's my thing. I'm like, I love the whole quarterback convo, and that's the part that makes it unique when you bring in every single player. And now it's like we're just separating. We're talking as an individual. What does this guy do? What does he bring? What's the production and stuff like that, man? But at the same time, we would say that quarterback is the most important position. So that's the whole thing. It's like, well, since the most important, does that mean that it's weighted infinitely higher than any other position?
If you're doing a draft right now, I mean, you're taking probably 15 quarterbacks as your first pick.
Yeah, but of those 15 quarterbacks, are those 15 quarterbacks all going to be the best player on their team? The answer would be no. Because we've already seen league-wide, there's only 5 quarterbacks that we realistically feel every single year are like that. And then the rest becomes the Kirk Cousins convos, the Dak Prescott convos. And we don't talk about them in that same vein. So of those 15 quarterbacks that will be selected, just because they're selected, does that mean that they're the best player? Does that mean that they're better than that receiver, that running back, that edge rusher? I don't think that.
That says something, though.
So when Kenny Pickett was our quarterback, would we have said in a draft, and complete Steelers roster is all available, would we have taken Kenny Pickett over T.J. Watt?
No.
Why not? He plays quarterback.
Because he's, like I said, I threw out the number 15. It might not be, it might be like 7 or 8. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the exact number, but yeah, I think the first at least five or six picks are going to be quarterbacks.
Yeah.
At least. Maybe you throw in someone in there at some point, but yeah, he's not one of those top guys. Yeah. So that's why TJ Watt's getting taken above him. Okay. Like you're definitely taking like Mahomes, Burrow. You're taking Josh Allen, probably Lamar.
These are all top 5 dudes we're naming right now.
That's what I mean.
Herbert.
Like these guys are getting listed off.
Yeah. You throw Stafford in there,
you probably draft Stroud.
Dak is going to be
in
if
that age wasn't a thing,
then,
obviously
bro.
you're throwing in Aaron Rodgers too.
Right, but Dak is going to be one of them ones. You know,
that's when I start thinking.
Fair,
that's when I start thinking. We get in that Dak Tua range. I'm thinking about drafting Tyreek Hill.
But contract wise, these are the guys that the teams are saying matter more. Well, would you say that Tyreek is better than Tua, or Tua is better than Tyreek?
I already told
Tua
you.
gets paid way more.
I'm not paying Tua. I'm not paying Dak. I already told you that.
But they play quarterback though, and that's the whole.
Yeah, so maybe 15 was a stretch, but I bet you teams would.
Lean
more quarterback for those top 15 picks. Like they would take a Dak Prescott over a Justin Jefferson.
We see it every single day with the check. Who gets paid more? Even though we're like, yo, they're not better on their team. So yeah, I'm with you, bro.
I think it'd be at least for sure.
Yeah.
7 or 8 that would go off the board. I don't know. Would they lean some of the young guys too? It all depends. If this is a draft for one single season versus you're starting your franchise here and it's just indefinite going forward. I don't know, but yeah, I think you need a quarterback, man. You need one of those guys. And when you're talking about value, you need a guy that can deliver. And those top, however many, some of them haven't even proven it.
That's
that extent,
what we're saying. How many are we talking about here?
But it's just
it's only Mahomes that's won rings like that.
Yeah, it's just that you got Mahomes,
Lamar,
and Stafford.
Josh, Burrow. They ain't done it just yet.
Mahomes, Stafford, and Rodgers.
Right.
That's really it.
Yeah.
I guess Flacco, if you want to include him.
Oh man, it stalled me out. So yeah, I'm like,
because he's
they're all quarterback
back in the league, right? Is he on the Colts? I think he's on the Colts.
Yes. Because he did. He signed with them. Yeah, but that's my thing. I'm just like, I get the Mahomes part, but I'm like, man, the rest of these QBs, man, we can talk all these other positions like that. But it does seem that we're always going to end with QB being the one that we're going to put on that shelf higher just because of them playing QB. I just don't think it's fair all the time. That's all.
You're the Bills. Who do you want, Josh Allen or Tyreek Hill?
I personally want Josh.
Yeah.
But that's why I asked you, because you like Kenny so much. And so I said, would you rather have had Kenny Pickett or T.J. Watt?
I thought Kenny's first 2 years were going to be different, but with how it played out, yeah, obviously he's not up to that caliber. It's not even conversation.
But that's with the information you saw. So prior to you getting that information, this is still T.J. Watt coming off a Defensive Player of the Year award. Would you want Kenny Pickett fresh out of Pitt, where all the hype is at its highest? We haven't seen any negativity NFL-wise. Or would you want T.J. Watt?
I didn't even want to draft Kenny Pickett.
I get that because 7, but 7's gone.
Not even that. I mean, I was like, we got Mitch and everything,
but we had to take a quarterback. Remember, Haskins passed away.
Don't get me wrong. I was pumped when we draft Kenny because I thought us drafting him said a lot, and then I think Kenny in his rookie offseason and eventually throughout the whole rookie season, like, hit every benchmark that I was looking for, and I was legitimately excited about getting him. But yeah, drafting a rookie quarterback doesn't lock you into anything.
If you're the Niners, right? Would
you
rather
could be drafting dudes in the top 10? Like it's like less than a 50% hit rate with some of these guys.
It is.
Outside of like Caleb Williams, I think he's gonna be for sure thing. There's only a handful of those dudes that have come out over the last 20, 25 years. Really, I mean, in the history of the NFL, you got Elway, probably Peyton Manning,
think about
Trevor Lawrence,
and
Andrew
there's still
Luck.
People are up and down on him at times.
Yeah, exactly. And then now you got Caleb Williams. That's like 5 or 6 guys that are dubbed as sure things coming out. And all of them outside of Lawrence thus far have hit as being guys.
Yeah, Luck definitely hit. Yeah. But
then outside of those dudes in the first round, it's like it's definitely less than 50. It might even be closer to 30% of hitting.
Yeah.
Of at least getting that franchise.
Because like when we say hit, we're saying get into the second contract, or
let's say that.
Like I look at Tua and Daniel Jones as my question marks. Like how would you classify them? Because if we're going off of second contract, then both of those guys in theory did hit from a draft pick perspective, even if we don't necessarily prefer them.
No, I'll give you
they
that.
did.
Definitely.
Okay, respect.
but it's bleak out there.
Yeah, that's real, man. That's real. Dope comedy.
So
that's the part that I like.
That's why I wasn't like. You could look back at what I wasn't like completely gun ho on drafting. I think it would have been a cool story. I thought he was obviously awesome at Pitt.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that was gonna be the savior for us at the time. Like whenever we're talking about drafting him. Mm-hmm. But again, once I saw him,
once you got him,
and
you
how
in. Right.
Well, not only that, but I saw him perform. Like he stepped up. Yeah. He consistently stepped up, hit every benchmark. Mm. Not only throughout the rookie offseason, but then the rookie season, hit those clutch drives and turning that team around. Like that meant something to me. Yeah. Like that was like, okay, I think this is someone that we could really hang our hats on. And this is only the rookie year. Watch out for year 2.
Yeah.
And it didn't play out that way, unfortunately.